I had one of the first PSE compound bows, and I mean, the thing shot harpoons and was set at a draw of 80 pounds. And I was getting my winter tires out, and I came across this triple header that I'd mounted on a plaque from years and years ago, and also a Robin Hood that I kept because the arrows were completely destroyed when I was target practicing. Now, this is quite a story because everything was normal year. I was out hunting whitetail. I did a spot and stalk on the whitetail, made a nice shot, and the mule deer pretty much the same thing, uneventful, a normal hunt. Good cross section of animals, very, very good meat animals, but that moose has got quite a story. Now, in those days, I would drive my truck up with the snow machine in the back, unload the snow machine, and there was always snow in November usually. And I would just take off with the snow machine, drive down a cut line, find a fresh track. And what I would do is when I found a fresh track, I'd make sure it was a bull because it was only a bull and calf back in those days. You could not shoot a cow. And so as I was following the track, I'd look up and see how wide the antlers were and what twigs they were broken off. And then I knew I would be following a bull. And the other thing I would do is when I stepped in the track of the actual bull, I'd grunt on each step. I'd break the odd twig. I'd stop, pretending I was feeding, rustling the different. Now I'm just looking at this video about grizzlies. This is all off the internet, but something to watch while I'm telling the story. But man, oh man, they are a ferocious animal. Anyway, so I would follow the tracks that way, pretending I was another bull, taking my time. The tracks were fresh. I'd make sure the twigs were getting broke off. It was a good bull, and follow it. And when I get close, usually the bulls, they were accustomed to me thinking I was another moose, and they weren't afraid. And I used to use pretty good descent so that they couldn't really tell me what I was. And I used to use a lot of household ammonia back in those days because it works. So you get really, really close. And I made a good shot on this moose, and he only went for a few yards, and down he went. And then of course the work begins. Now I always carry rope and a knife and that sort of thing, and bags to put the organs in, and everything's uneventful up till now. I mean, things are good. I ended up cleaning them out, propped the rib cage open with a stick, and let them cool, walked back, got my snow machine, dragged him out. And this all takes a lot of time, but I took a come along and lifted him up, got him in the back of the truck, and put my ramps on, loaded that was a 74 Arctic Cat back then, and loaded it all up, but by now it's completely dark. And I know I'm going across the ferry, and I know the ferry will be closed. Okay, some of them used to run 24 hours. This one used to run from 6 till 6. So I just kind of settled down in the truck and had a snooze. And in the morning, I got up, took my drive, and when I got to the ferry, okay, it was cold, and there was a whole big chunk of ice around the ferry. The ferry was actually partially frozen. And I knocked on the trailer to the ferry guy, and I said, are you still running? Oh, yeah, he said, that's pretty good. He said, so we loaded the truck on the ferry. Now, I'm the only guy there. This is a great big chunk of ice surrounding on the froze to the side of the ferry. And he starts the motor up, and we're kind of talking. He's looking at the moose, and I asked him if he wanted any, and ended up giving him some liver, and we're just visiting. Nothing's happening. It's totally uneventful. And he finally waits till the motors started and warmed up, and he puts the ferry in gear, and it's working. He's got to work the clutch back and forth, and finally it frees off the shore of the ice. Now the ice is probably, 2-3 inches thick. And of course there's current in the river, and pretty good strong current. And we get out. So far, it's really uneventful. Just chuck, 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 chuck. I'm visiting with him. Truck sitting in the middle of the ferry, and away we go across. And then all of a sudden, the current caught that ice. I'll never forget it because I'm lucky to be here. We're both very lucky to be here because it literally, the ice When the current caught that, and if you don't think the current's strong, it's amazing. This is the North Saskatchewan River, and it literally flipped that ferry on its side. The truck came sliding down the ferry, the floor, and we just got inside the ferry shack, and bang, it hit the side, and the water's starting to come up, and then all of a sudden, the ice broke off the ferry, and it righted itself. Now, we're so lucky that ice broke off. Otherwise, it would have flipped right over top. Anyway, the truck has got us pinned in the motor house. So we had to open a window. I had to crawl out, got the truck going, backed the truck up, got it away from the motor house. Bill by now has got the motor running. And we start going across, and we're both quiet. We're not saying a word. I mean, had it gone completely over, it'd have been crazy. But it was an exciting time. We lived through it. You hear the story. Not too many people know about this story, but that's what happened. And I still get chills down my back just telling it. But I was at Costco the other day, and they have these wild mushrooms on sale for $20. So I want to show you what you can do, because a lot of people say, I can never find mushrooms. What do you do? And nobody really knows if breathing mushrooms help you keep cancer away. We know that if you consume them, it does. But I smelt that jar, and I mean, it smells just so great. So you know they're giving off molecules because you can smell them. And here's the jar here. And that was $20. And there's no scientific proof that breathing mushrooms will keep cancer away, okay? But there's also no proof that it doesn't. So why not take it the chance? And it doesn't cost very much. Now I get a little creative. When I do these lids, I'm going to give them as gifts. And I use a Forstner bit, and that's just some fungi that I drilled out and glued the lid in, and then just leave the lid loose and let them healthy molecules flow into your room and breathe them, and literally lasts for a very, very, very long time. And you don't need to do a lid. I mean, I bought this jar for $3, and you can see right through the lid. I put about $3 worth of mushrooms in it, and it'll keep you healthy for a very, very long time. Now, you can tell these mushrooms are still putting out some really healthy molecules, because you should just smell them. They're just amazing, and they're only $20. So this is a pretty cheap way of staying healthy. Thanks for watching. Please donate to cancer, and we'll see you in the next video.